What's up guys, it is Jake from the Sanctum Squad. We have been on the Dueling Book ladder playing nothing but Drytron. I got into a little phase where I was absolutely obsessed with the deck. We got into the top 50 at one point. We were ranked 31st. At this point in time of recording this video, we are still in the 100, top 100. One of the problems that I'm facing at the minute is in the top 100, it feels like a very made up Worlds-like format where you no longer play against actual relevant meta decks. You just find Inspector board, set fours, or Necro Valley Dragoons and stuff like that. And I was really, it was just tilting me bad, so I'm just taking a little break and then we'll get back onto it. So I just want to show you the list that I used as well, because it's very unusual in the sense that it's so basic and it doesn't try and play any fancy tech cards or anything. And I just want to explain sort of like the power and the relevancy of just playing just a simplistic list. We're just going to start with the monsters. I'm not going to explain any of the monsters too much because everyone already plays these cards anyway. Alpha, obviously it gets to Ben 10 if you can afford to do it that way. I'd much prefer trying to get Ben 10 through anything that isn't Alpha, because this card is like the biggest choke point in the deck and everyone knows that. So I'll play cards like Prep and Diviner, and I'm quite happy to normal summon Diviner before I do anything, just to try and get to the Ben 10 before using a Drytron. And then play 3 copies of Zeta. I think this one is actually the best one in this version, just because we have so much more access to Ben 10 than a normal list would. Yeah, so these ones are really standard. 3 Gamma is becoming more standard. This one's actually my favourite one. I think this one's nuts. This one in the turn 3s and stuff is just insane. It's quite cool as well that this one plus any Drytron monster is a full combo, because we play 2 Me Betas now. So yeah, definitely play 3 and then just 1 Delta. Honestly, if it wasn't for me playing Prosperity, I'd definitely play more of this one as well. I've actually been tempted to put in more of this even with Prosperity. I just think opening as many names as possible in this deck is nuts, especially when you've got cards which search Ben 10 first anyway, because once you got access to Ben 10, you never really needed Alpha, and you can get the draw one, and it just your combos just become a lot more potent. We've got a very slim ritual lineup, so obviously play Ben 10, which is the best card in the deck. And then I'm just playing 1 Ultimateness and 1 Perfection. This is a little bit strange because these are essentially the same card, but I basically wanted my whole deck just to be Drytron's ways to get to Ben 10 and the Heralds. And this makes it so that your prep is live if you already have Ben 10 or prepping multiples and stuff like that. I've literally never played with Drytron in this deck. I've tested Meteor, the Draconids briefly. I just don't miss those cards not being in my deck. It's just, I think this is just very streamlined and very easy. And then we play 3 copies of Diviner. This card's just amazing. Like I said, in this build, because we're not playing Drytron and stuff, I'm not in a big rush to make Beatrice first turn every game. So you can just afford to normal summon this, activate the effect, just to try and get to Ben 10 before you've before using a Drytron monster. And then that way they actually need Ash and a Veiler running perm to stop you getting to Ben 10 in that way. And play 3 copies of Orange Light, 2 copies of Ava. These are my favourite cards. I think this is what makes me want to play the deck, because these cards are just so nuts. These cards make it so that your deck doesn't lose to Dark Ruler no more droplets, because a lot of decks that even after negating your Ultimateness, they still can't play through these. These are just really, really good. I would actually I want to recommend trying, if you open this card and you go in second, and even if it's live, just try not to use it. Honestly, it's not amazing to. All it really does is it broadcasts exactly what you're playing, and it means that you're starting your turn on a 4-card hand, and it means that your opponent can sort of play around your 4 cards the way they want to. Whereas if you hold this in your hand, because the only card that you really need to stop with this going second is Appaloosa, and you can actually just hold this until they use an Appaloosa effect, and that way it doesn't broadcast anything. It means that you get to do it on your time and not theirs. Ava's weird as well. I think this card could very easily be a one-of in this list, because we make Beatrice much less than a usual list. But it does come up in scenarios where you'll go double Drytron, where you open 2 Drytrons, one of them gets hand trapped, and then you still need to make Mu Beta. So you need to normal summon a level 1, and this is the only level 1 fairy that you can search. And then once you've done that, you often still want to search Ava later on in the combo. And then for spells, we play 3 copies of Prosperity and 3 copies of Prep. I do think that these are the cards that I'm looking for in every opening hand, and they're like every time I activate Prosperity, I'm looking for Prep if I don't already have it. Just because having Ben 10 before you do anything is like it's amazing. It lets you play through so many more hand traps. It means that Ash Blossom, they have to use it just so like suboptimally. Yeah, these are just great. Prosperity is obviously like nuts going in game 2 and 3 as well. This is where this is like a little bit weird, I guess. So because I was just going for like pure consistency, I just decided to play 3 Fafnir along with like the triple Nova, and I actually played 2 ritual spells as well. So I really don't understand why people don't like Fafnir. I can get it when you play like 1 ritual spell, because when you open like Fafnir and Nova, like, this card doesn't really do anything because you would be getting this off your Zeta anyway. But when you play 2, like literally your Fafnir should always have a relevant search target. Not only that, but it means that like you have 6 ways to like put bodies on the field with Nova and like attack over things like Appaloosa when you go second. This card is also a spell card that summons a monster, so that's a way to like get over stuff like Appaloosa as well. I know I mentioned Appaloosa a lot, but like literally this deck can just lose to that card. So it's important that you have ways to be able to like beat that consistently. And yeah, so I think this is all fine. I think like with the ritual spell as well, it means that Zeta is like live all the time. Like you literally have to open with 2 of these for your Zeta to suck, which is like in a normal build when you play 1. Drawing this, it just like it turns off like your second best Drytron essentially. But yeah, I think that's everything with those. Fafnir as well also limits like how they can bell you, because obviously this stops the negation of like ritual spells, and it stops the graveyard effect of it as well, so like they can't even like bell this adding back to your hand. And then we play triple emergency, obviously just to open live, and then like the only 2 cards in my deck that aren't just like pure gas essentially is Instant Fusion and Core by the Grave. I think these cards are just like way too important in this deck, especially in game 2 and 3 when your opponent's got Droll Lock Birds in the side deck, they've got Cycle Readers in the side deck. And then like in game 1 as well, even if you just see these and well, you stop like an Ash Blossom, it essentially just means that you get to just solitaire through the game. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. For the extra deck, I played 2 Mi Beta, which is pretty standard now at this point I think. 1 Beatrice, obviously 1 Zeus, 1 Dawned. I cut the Lyrolux monster not too long ago, and I keep finding situations where I think I want to play that card again, just because it helps so much in like back row matchups with like even just like rogue stuff like Eldritch, like Dogmatic Punishment and stuff like that. I think that card comes up enough to warrant like finding a space, so that is something that I'm definitely going to try again. And then for the Link Monsters, we play Access Code. Don't worry about playing this card if you don't have it, because I found that like the higher I got on the ladder, the less I actually make this card. I think that you can very easily substitute this out for Borrelsword just as like a win condition. But I actually think that you could probably function well without like a big win condition link for, just because like the win condition in this deck should be your opponent literally can't play, so you can kill them with just Drytrons and the Herald. But yeah, don't worry about that too much. Unicorn mainly just to summon off the IP Masquerader, because Masquerader is typically on every like end board. Obviously just good going second anyway. Phoenix is pretty cool, especially like with like more back row decks and stuff in the format, like Sky Strikers and stuff. It's pretty cool in like game 2s when you've got like stuck under anti-spells and whatnot. And it's got like a cool interaction with another extra deck monster I play. We play IP Masquerader obviously, Link Rebo, which is really obvious. And then I'm also trying Relinquished Anima. So like this card could, so it's either going to be this or it could be like the second Herald that I play that becomes like the Lyrisk. But what's really cool about this card is the Eyeside Denko Sekka. So what you can actually do game 2. So say for instance your opponent's playing Tri Brigade, they've got their 2400 Appaloosa, they've got Revolt set. You can summon Denko there, and then you can Nova into a Drytron. You can go into Anima pointing towards Appaloosa, and you can like force them to like negate it essentially. That then puts the Appaloosa at 16, and it means Denko can instantly just kill the Appaloosa. Something else as well against Sky Striker is that when they pass with Shizuku, you can summon this to whatever zone Shizuku points to, and then you can summon this next to the Phoenix, and then you can actually steal the Shizuku, which lets you hate the monster without triggering Rain. So yeah, they've got a pretty cool interaction. And then we just play 2 copies of Arclight, because every time that I cut the second one, I'll need it in the next game. 1 Entis for like popping back row and stuff. It's pretty cool going second in general. And then just the Millennium Ice for the instant fusion. So just for the Sodadecker, this changes like almost daily. I'm trying like so many new things all the time. So I'm trying 2 Nib and 2 Lancer at the minute. What's quite nice is that these 2 usually go hand in hand. A lot of the decks that lose to one or like usually lose to the other as well. So like for instance Tri Brigade, this will stop them playing. This will stop them summoning Appaloosa, which is like the biggest thing that they summon against you. Against Virtual World, you can side in both of these because this stops the King Long from searching. If you're brave enough to like play into Gamma, you can drop it in the standby phase. It stops them using any pot, and that deck's already bricky like as it is. These were also quite nice against the Prank Kid deck. We saw 3 copies of Droll and 3 copies of Cycle Reader. I think Drytron is like the only deck which I absolutely always put in 6 cards against, just because you actually have to open your side deck cards against Drytron. You can't draw them as your 6th card or like get them off Prosperity or anything, because all your cards just get negated essentially. And then we play side deck 3 Denko and 2 Twin Twisters. So this card's like amazing against like pretty much everything against the mirror match. I was having a crisis at one point where I actually just wanted to main deck this card. It's good against Tri Brigade, it's good against Sky Striker, good against Prank Kids. Like every deck will like set a track card at least, except for like the mirror match obviously. And then Twin Twister's pretty nice to have on top of this as well, because you can always just like side in one of these just as like a Mystic Monet and stuff like that. So yeah, that is my deck as it is at the minute. Pretty happy with it, and I think it's I wouldn't say it's perfect, but I think it's definitely a very good starting point if you want to start playing this deck like competitively. So that was the deck profile, very basic. I hope the side deck tips help. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and check out our brand new affiliate tcgaccess.co.uk. Thank you for watching.